Here's a guide for how to do really well in the SCE summer internship interview. This question here is what we used to ask up until about a year ago, and it was to create a really basic web page that would display the weather when the user inputs a zip code. So the idea is that the user has some sort of input for a number. We return the city name and temperature for that zip code. And the interview question asks us to leverage the Open Weather Map API. So to start this, I'm not writing any code. The first thing I'm going to do is make a plan. So if I was being interviewed, I'd open up VS Code, I'd make some sort of file, and then up here I'd be like, okay, game plan, what are we going to do? So the first thing we're going to do is we need a web page with an input, and then a button, obviously. I have a section, render the city name and temperature. Now, it's also important to write this down, because you can clarify the requirements. You can ask if styling matters, what units of temperature you want, and then the interviewer will appreciate that because it shows that you're thinking about the problem. In this case, I'll just use Fahrenheit. We're not going to do any styling. So to get started on this problem, I'm still not going to write any code. The next thing I'm going to figure out is city name and temperature from Open Weather. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a new window, and I'm going to look up on Google how to talk to this API, so hopefully we can get some documentation. So I'll look up Open Weather API, zip code, current conditions. And yeah, it's much faster to just use Google to find what you want. And yeah, this is literally what we need right here. But we just need to find the zip code. So there's probably a zip code in here. Let's see, so go down here. Sure enough, there it is. So back in my notes, I'm going to take what I got from here, paste that. So I'm going to replace the API key here with my own API key. Country code, reading the documentation, I know you don't have to supply it if we're doing a zip code in the United States. And then for zip code, I'm just going to do 95112, which I think is the zip code for San Jose State. If you make a new tab and paste this, we get a JSON response. And this looks like what we need right here. So now we're trying to solve this section here of how to get the city name and temperature on Open Weather. So if we look at the JSON, right, let's just make a section down here. The weather temperature, is here in down here. It's in main. So it's in this object, and then in this object there's a field called main, and then there's a thing called temp. Now this is in Kelvin units. Let's go back to the documentation. Let's see how we can get Fahrenheit. So I think if we add a new URL parameter here, we go units equals, I'm pretty sure imperial, that's going to get us what we want. And let's do pretty print one more time. Yeah, there you go. It's 55 degrees Fahrenheit in San Jose right now. So let's paste our correct URL right here and quickly put the new JSON, the corrected units. And we want two things, right? We want city name and temperature. So how do we get city name? Or how do we get temperature first? Let's do that. So temperature is something like, if you define this as like data, right? Let's just pretend this whole object is represented by a variable called data. That would be data.main, right? Because that's here. And then inside it's temp. So data.main.temp. Easy. And then for city name, let's take a look. City name is down here. It's a name. And it looks like from the object, it's just data.name. And we can also verify this too. So check this out. If I go here and I do, if you're on not Mac, just do Control-Shift-J. If you're on Mac, do Option-Command-J, and then you can define a variable here called data. And now you have data defined as this object, and look, you can literally test it out right now. So if you do data.main.temp, yep, that makes sense, right? I'll make this bigger. And if you do data. I think it was name, right? San Jose, cool. So this is actually, now this has become a very easy problem because we know what we need to make, and we know how to make the API call. And then finally, we know how to extract the data from here. And when we did the requirements, you could even ask the interviewer, oh, do I need to do like a not found? And maybe they'll say yes, they'll say no. But even then, this is super trivial now. You've basically solved the problem with just words. And now all we have to do is turn it into actual code. So now I haven't solved this problem in a while, and I'm going to try to just do it in straight HTML and JavaScript. So let's see if we can do it. Okay, so now we're back. I quickly wrote some software, HTML, JavaScript, whatever, to generate this interview question quickly. And so now if we just put 95112 and we hit go, it didn't work. So now let's debug. If we go to the network tab, I open this up with Option Command J. Let's try it again. So we're making the request, but then we're getting a bad request. So let's see what's going on here. So if we look at this, okay, so the zip code looks like it's not being populated. I'm looking at the URL here. So let's see. So if we go to text content, I think I have to change this to value. See, so this is like live debugging in the interview, which using the browser tools would be very impressive for your interviewer. So make sure to use that. And if we reload again, 95112, yeah, totally works. Nice. So let's do 94118, San Francisco. What's another zip code? Let's look up New Jersey zip code. New Jersey zip code. Let's just do a random one like this one right here. Paste it. Yeah, New Brunswick, New Jersey. There you go. Totally works. So that's a very quick way and the optimal way for how to solve the SCE interview.